today we are going to discuss Professor Jagdish Bhagwati's book. It is called In Defense of Globalization. And this man, Professor Bhagwati, is very important and influential person. He is sitting at key position to decide the policies regarding free trade, economic globalization, privatization, and you could call him the main ideologue of globalization movement. In two previous classes, we have already discussed what is this new economic policy, what is this globalization, privatization, what is free trade. So we will not repeat those things. I hope that you have completely understood those economic concepts. Now, why Jagdish Bhagwati is important and why I am bringing Jagdish Bhagwati in this class? Because there are two groups of people who are fighting. The first group would say that capitalist development, free trade, big multinational companies, they will demolish, they will end environmental natural resources. In other words, the kind of economic model which we have adopted is a big threat to nature, to environment. You might have seen protesters, environmentalists, sitting on dharna against dam, against cutting of the trees. You might have seen newspaper reports that when metro is being constructed, so many trees are being cut. When buildings are being constructed, trees are cut. When cold drinks companies are set up, the areas are devastated, farmers are not able to get water. On the other hand, those companies take massive water from the ground, they sell it, they earn profit, and the poor people, the farmers, they suffer. So this is one kind of argument, that if you have to save environment, if you have to save earth, you have to live, if you have to have sustainable development, then the kind of economic policies which we have adopted, that must be critiqued. So you might have seen people protesting, several meetings being held, and even WTO meetings, World Trade Organization's meeting, if they are held at big places, in many occasions protesters have gone there and it has become a big news. So one group of people, very powerful, their appeal is very strong, that the lifestyle which is being promoted by the big companies, the MNCs, you cannot sustain it for long. There is another group of the people who would argue that whatever environmentalists are saying, they are basically pessimist. वो बुरा ही बोल रहे हैं, उनको कुछ अच्छा नहीं दिख रहा है. The environmentalists do not see that how Delhi has changed, how the air quality has improved, how roads have become better, how our mohallas, our localities have become green. So this is one kind of the arguments. So these two arguments you will find it till you do this course. Wherever you go and present a paper, write a story, somebody will stand and say, oh, you are wrong. If you take either of the positions, you will be heavily critiqued. So my plan was that let's bring Jagdish Bhagwati here and ask him, sir, what do you think about it? I am not so powerful to bring him here in this class, but what I have done, I have taken a chapter from this book, In Defense of Globalization, chapter number 11, Environment in Peril. So, what I have done, I have already shared readings with you, and as a teacher, as a scholar, I am not able to repeat everything what he has said, because readings can be done in multiple ways. You take reading very seriously. A teacher can bring 4 or 5 points, major points in the classroom, and my job is to tease you, my job is to invite you to this shop of knowledge. Come and do some shopping. But something that you like, let's say red shirt. Maybe somebody may not like red shirt. So what happens, that reading is very critical thing. If I have read this paper, let's say 5 years back, the kind of points which I might have highlighted 5 years back may not be the same points if I read 10 years later. So the reading is very important. So I am just like a shopkeeper here, telling you, come madam, this t-shirt is very good, this frock is very good, this shoes is very good. But you have to go and you have to touch it, you have to see it, and you have to find it whether it is suitable for you or not. So as a teacher, I will give you reading, and maybe I know that you have so many courses, you may not be able to read each and every reading in every class, but try to read it, and your feedback is also important. Environmentalists are saying that our planet is in peril because of this economic globalization. And what Jagdish Bhagwati is saying, that this view is not correct, that economic globalization is threat to environment. So basically he is, the first thing he's trying to do is to dismiss the peril argument. He is not so pessimist. He is not so pessimist. He is saying, no, come on. Don't think like that. That we will be dead, all dead. That the pessimist view, according to him, he says that the environmentalists are pessimistic. If I ask Jagdish Bhagwati, sir, the kind of economic policies which is being taken up by our government or globally, do you think that it is going to kill us, kill environment, exploit all the natural resources? So Jagdish Bhagwati will say, don't be so pessimistic. It's not like that. So basically the second point you have to keep in mind, that he is a big defender of globalization. Free market economy, trade, free trade, globalization, liberalization, and he is basically entering into this debate. Free trade versus environment, free trade versus environment. And then he will say something very different from the environmentalist. People sitting at the dam and saying that dam nahi chahiye hame, don't cut trees. He would say, no, this position is not correct. He is arguing that economic welfare, economic development, economic welfare, growth, even though there is no ideal environmental policies, he is saying that, okay, accepted that in our society still we do not have ideal environmental laws, even though if there is free trade, there is economic growth, then it will improve environment. It will not harm environment. He is basically saying that theek hai, we do not have best policies, but if you follow free trade liberalization, it will improve it. He is basically disagreeing with environmentalist group. And I have told you many times that he has said that environmentalists are pessimists. I do not agree with them. And he has said, on the other hand, that imposition of protectionist quota led to both lower economic welfare and increased pollution. So basically Jagdish Bhagwati is saying that the kind of policies you are talking about, that if multinational companies, if they are invited to India, if there is a trade liberalization, if there is so much growth, then it will be bad for environment. But I have a very different position. I would argue that if you chase them away, if you close your economy, if you stop free trade, then this is not going to help environment. This is not going to have this is not going to lead to any good result. On the other hand, it will be bad for both, for development also or for environment also. So this argument is very strong. Suppose if you go to any place where trees are being cut, and you are, let's say you are a scholar of environmental science, and if you go there, those who would support the construction of the new building might borrow the arguments from Jagdish Bhagwati. He may not be aware that he has read Jagdish Bhagwati, but ideas are so powerful that suppose you don't know Aristotle, but maybe that in your life you many times you repeat what Aristotle has said. You do not know Marx, but when you say that mazdoor ka shoshan hota hai, workers are being exploited, even though you have not heard the name of Marx, but you try to repeat what Marx has said. So similarly, this Jagdish Bhagwati's argument is so powerful that even our leaders, our politicians, our journalists, they all argue in the same manner. That is why I have given you this reading. You have to read closely that what is the strength of Jagdish Bhagwati's argument and what is the weakness of Jagdish Bhagwati's argument. And if you write a paper, it may not be in 8,000 words. Even if you write a paper in 2,000 words, it will be very, very important. So he is basically saying that free trade is not bad, growth is not bad. Contrary to that, if you have closed economy, if you have, let's say, protectionist agenda, then it will be more detrimental. On both fronts, our growth will also decline and our environment will also be harmed. So this is his argument. So the next point, which is linked to what he has said, that trade restriction is not good for environment. So his support for the free trade is everywhere. You could see him in all the arguments. In all the arguments, he is saying that trade restriction is not good. Having said that, he has said that okay, let's go for economic liberalization, but he is also saying that okay, let's have polluter pay policy. What do you mean by polluter pay policy? Suppose if you open a, let's say, cold drink factory, and there is some waste, okay, then Jagdish Bhagwati would say that don't stop him from making cold drink, okay, just hold him accountable for the kind of pollution which he is creating. Ask him to pay. What do you mean by asking him to pay? You treat it, okay. Paying the price for pollution means that you do not throw away kachara. You have to treat it. Suppose I have to go somewhere and I have borrowed shirt from you. Okay, give me your shirt. I am going to attend a birthday party. I do not have good shirt. So if you give me shirt, this is my responsibility that I will return it in the same conditions. I cannot use it and after that it becomes dirty and I will say, le lijiye, take it. So similarly, the environmental pay policy would be that whatever you take from the nature, do not throw something that is very bad. Production is always a collective job. You take anything. Suppose you have to take the example of this mobile phone. Is it possible that one person can make this mobile phone? It can only be made by the association of so many people. So the question is, the Marxist friend will ask, Mr. Jagdish Bhagwati, if people can only produce something, even pen, so if production is social, why the profit should go to only one person? Why profit is being exploited by only one person? This is the key argument. This is the key debate among the supporters of capitalism and the supporters of socialist and left policy. So basically Jagdish Bhagwati might be questioned like this. Sir, is it so easy? Can you hold those big companies responsible? Have you heard the name of Bhopal gas tragedy? The case, I think in early 80s, a large number of people died. You can do one term paper on that. What happened to the country, to the company, which was responsible for the killing of so many people? Were those people arrested? Were those people put behind the bar? Even I have interviewed the journalist, John Dayal, who was the well-known journalist in 70s and 80s. He is still active. He's a veteran journalist. So he was among the first journalists to reach where? Bhopal. So in 1980s, he was young, he went there. So there is also the connection how politicians also support the big companies to evade the responsibility, because politician in turn can get some profits, the share of profit from them also. So the one big criticism I can make of Jagdish Bhagwati, that he had just said, okay, polluter may be held responsible, but it is not so easy. Then he is saying, okay, make appropriate environmental policies. That's good. Okay, make environment policies that I am comfortable with, but don't restrict trade. Okay, don't restrict trade. Don't say no to trade. Have good policies. I am not against it. Then the critics might argue that if good policies were put, then will those companies come? I am telling you, you might have heard this story also. There are different standards and levels of environmental laws from one country to another country. You know it. Suppose if you have to make, let's say, cold drink, the kind of environmental laws you have to pass through, let's say, India, may not be the same if you go to America and if you go to some other places. So the environmental laws are also not uniform, and in rich country, in advanced country, the environmental laws are very high. So the big companies are under obligation to follow a strict good standard, but in poorer regions they are not under much control. Okay, and that is why you might have also seen that the location of trade and industries are shifting to those regions where environmental laws are not very strict. So in other words, if companies are coming to South Asia or maybe going to China, and if they are establishing their factories there, it means that these regions have low level of environmental rules. So it in other words point to this fact that lower the environmental laws, the more comfortable the companies find. So wherever there is a higher level of, let's say, standard laws, they would say no, don't go there, go here, something like that. So this is also another criticism of Jagdish Bhagwati's argument also, that you have said that good environmental laws are fine, but why poorer countries are not able to hold big companies accountable? Why? Because MNCs and their income, many MNCs and their income are more than the GDP of poorer countries. You understand what I am trying to say? That many big companies, yes sir, I am coming to you. Yes, many big companies, their turnover is so huge that if they invest somewhere in a smaller country in poorer regions, even the GDP of that country is smaller than the annual income of that country. So you tell me, who is Dada? Okay. So Jagdish Bhagwati, another argument is, okay, let's have technology, let's have innovation. I am okay with that. So let's have good technology, let's have innovation. So technology is good, but then one could argue to Jagdish Bhagwati, sir, who controls technology? Who owns technology? The poorer regions are saying that transfer technology from the west to us so that we could curb that fuel emission. Another point of Jagdish Bhagwati, I have told you also in the previous class also, that Jagdish Bhagwati is big supporter of liberal democracy, free trade, capitalism. So if you are supporter of free trade, capitalism, will you support Marxism and socialism? No. So he is a big critique of Soviet Union, socialism, left politics, okay? And he is saying that you criticize free market, you criticize free trade, but have you gone to those socialist country? What is environmental laws there? And he has said, in those socialist country, in those leftist country, there is no democracy. There is no democracy. There is less feedback system. You understand? Feedback system is public opinion. Suppose here if trees are being cut, we can go, no, save trees. You might have read Chipko Andolan also. I will give you some readings of Chipko Andolan also. That when trees were being cut, women went there and they hugged the tree. So the Chipko, so if there is a democracy, a strong democracy, people can go there. At nuclear plant, you might be also knowing this fact through newspaper that when nuclear plant was being constructed in I think in Tamil Nadu or in Kerala, somewhere in the south, people went and protested and so many people put behind the bar also. So basically Jagdish Bhagwati is saying, where there is a democracy, where there is a vibrant press, where there is a vibrant public opinion, then people can criticize, newspapers can write. But in socialist country, you people don't have democracy, you do not allow people to speak, so more degradation is happening there and you are asking me. So basically he challenging the socialist group, the leftist group. So this debate about development, freedom, free trade, environment, he tries to make a balance among them. But can we really make a balance? Can we really make a balance? So, can we really build a cat? Can we really hold big companies accountable? Can we have better technology? So these are the key questions that we could ask Jagdish Bhagwati if he were here. But the best you can do is to read his paper. And I think you are from science background, you know environmental science more than I know. I know a drop of it. So if you read it, I think there would be many more questions that can come up your mind. Write on a small paper, get it printed somewhere also. Write in a small newspaper also. The assignment would be like that. How do you look at Jagdish Bhagwati's view on environment? Something like that. Read this paper, I am telling you. Because Jagdish Bhagwati is not the name of a person. It is the name of an ideology. My job is to give you what are the big jhagadas. What are the big positions. You know it, you read it. So I think we have done the job for today. If you have any questions, many questions, you can ask. Yes, Boli.
Sir, so that the Bhagwati sir has his outlook with development, free trade and environment, how does he support that argument?
So
how does he have a stand for the environment?
Yes, he is basically saying that the very logic that trade is bad, the very idea that free trade is not good, the very idea that growth is not good, these are not the way to look at it, he is saying. He would say that you are in a wrong direction, don't go like this, okay? He would say, have growth, have economic policies, don't go into the socialist directions that okay, our economy will be closed, we will not allow any foreign national companies to come. No, it's not the way to follow. You follow, open up your economy, bring them, feel confident and have environmental policies, ask the polluters to pay for that, have technological innovation, have a strong democracy, have the feedback system where people can raise their voices against all kinds of the degradation, but don't go for the socialist and environmentalist way because they are pessimist people. I would summarize his view. He would say, don't throw baby with the bathtub. Anything. It will not be good for the job also, not be good for the anything, not even for the environment. So he is saying, go for this liberalization, trade, economic development, capitalist development, but have some rules, put good rules, hold them responsible. But I have also raised questions on him that is it so easy? If it were so easy, then things were not so bad and an environmental movement would not have become global. And after 1960s and 70s, it has become very a strong movement across the globe also. And whenever there is big economic summit is there, protesters will go and they'll say down, we don't want such kind of development. So this is the argument which you will be able to hear again and again. So read the chapter number 11 which is there, just 20 pages. So is it clear? Yes. So the Jagdish Bhagwati never, he is not saying I am against environment, but the kind of environmentalist movement which is going on, he would disagree with it.